So part two, and the bike's looking a little different. Pretty much just took off the air box, the tank, the seat covers, and obviously the front wheel. These are my new tires. Shinko's. Got the first one mounted up, second one obviously still waiting on it, but looking pretty good. Cleaned up the forks just a little bit, still got some more to go, but the forks are gonna be coming out of the trees and then getting rebuilt. Got seals, oil. Okay, so we're jumping around a little bit, but we're gonna be doing the forks now. I'm gonna show you how to do it. I already did the one, and we're gonna knock out the other one here. I'm basically a professional now, so I'm gonna show you how we did it at least. So we've had this fork, just the top end out, and all the fluids drained. I'm just gonna kind of show you just for video purposes of just loosening these pinch bolts and bring it down just a little bit, and then we tighten these back up. Take this big nut. It wasn't really that tight, but tighten this up, and that's a good way to hold it from cracking this loose. Then it'll come all the way out. Alright, so basically we have our fork here now. This is all loose. It's gonna have a little bit of spring pressure, but at least on this model, it's not much. We're just back it all the way out. You're gonna have your cap. You're gonna have a sleeve. Compress that down, and then there's gonna be this spacer or whatever. Then we're gonna have the main spring. So you wanna make sure that this is a progressive spring. It gets a little tighter. The coils are a little tighter towards the top. They'll spread out towards the bottom. So just make sure when you put that back together. And then here we have the tool that we're going to be using to take this apart. So it's like a 12-point, I guess like a nut or something, like kind of like a socket or whatever. So this is just a bolt with two lock washers pinching this bigger 18mm bolt, and we had a little bit of trial and error to get that right. But stick it down in there, all the way down. It'll lock into what you need to take out. And then your socket with a really long extension will go down the tube and hold this, loosen it, and then you get from the bottom, there's a Allen, and you just loosen it all up. You're pretty much loosening the Allen and then loosening the top, and then it all comes apart with a little bit of force. Alright, so it's obviously easier with two people, but since it's just me, threw it in the vise here, just something so it doesn't nick it up. This is the Allen I'm talking about, 10mm drive, and then I'm just going to have the ratchet pretty much come down and just hit the workbench, and that'll be my stop. So we're going to take our special tool. It's going to go end down like that first, and we're going to take our really long extension and bring it all the way down, and then just locked in, and we're gonna crack it loose, and then I should be able to loosen the 10mm at the end here. Alright, so actually what I did is I just held this one and I just held that one, and this one should break loose first. You'll have this one probably break loose first because this is actually pretty tight. So if this breaks loose first, I just tighten it back up or just hold it with that and crack this one loose. As you can see, the Allen here is loose. It's about to come out probably. And I'm going to loosen up the big nut all the way with the ratchet here. And then there's a little bit of a clip above the seals themselves. Take the clip out, it's going to be a washer, I believe. And then you're going to be able to separate. I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so this is the clip I'm talking about. And yeah, there's this washer with all that dirt underneath it. Just pops out. There's like an internal groove in here in between the shaft or the body and the, I don't know, the shaft, I guess. And just pull this off, and then you can't really get to the washer, but you're just gonna be pressing down on this and pulling the just pretty much pulling it out of the seals that are pressed in out of the body. All right, so we got the clip out and all that. Pretty much just clean it up so you can pull it all apart. There's gonna be some more stuff in there too. This plunger, this is what you're putting that big nut in. See, it's like a 12-point deal. There's gonna be a little spring. I think there's a plunger down here too. It might be still stuck down there though. So just gonna clean this up. The oily rag, and can't even grab onto this. So pretty much you're just gonna grab onto it and pull all apart like that. So those are your fork seals right there. That's that washer I'm talking about. And so now it's pretty much all empty. Yeah, this there's that spacer I'm talking about. And we're gonna pull all these off and put it back together. All right, so pretty much the hardest part is trying to figure out how all this goes back together. We're gonna take this and throw it back in. You're just pretty much doing it in reverse. So, got a little bit of a lip on the bottom here. So that comes out. So it'll come out a little bit. This probably took a little bit for us. So this is like a spring, I imagine, just for like the last bottoming out, or maybe it's the start of suspension, I'm not sure. But we're gonna throw that back on like that. And we're gonna stick it in the body. Like so. So the hardest part is trying to get this to line up so you can stick that Allen bolt we had back in. I think we're there. Alright, so we got that Allen bolt in, and we're going to try and tighten this all back up. So, I got the ratchet on the one end. We're going to put this down in. And get our super long extension. So that's turning the ratchet. So, easiest way to do it is just to put this on end. And just tighten it up. Okay, so it's back in the vise, just so it's easier to handle. Obviously, your seals go back in here. It's all tightened back up, it's all clean. You want to make sure it goes together clean, and if you're having a hard time putting it back together, I dealt with the other one last night a lot. So if this doesn't tighten down, or if this doesn't tighten down, usually this won't even thread in if you have it wrong. So you pretty much can't put it together wrong because it won't go together. You can just feel the shaft will bottom out on that spring that we put in, that short spring. Everything's all tightened up, like I said, though. So here's your new seals. I got these from I think All Balls Racing on eBay. They're like 30 bucks for the pair. And so these are my old seals. They're pretty pressed together. Separate these, and I use the bottom seal as a driver, something to hit on, to slide that over, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so this is the bottom one. It's got a little bit of a band on it, and this is the top one, which is more of like a dust seal. So, because you don't want to damage these putting them on, we're going to use a piece of plastic, or just anything. I guess you could get a little more creative than this. Put it on like that. Get our seal. And I'm going to wiggle it on and do the little one-handed trick. But there you go. You didn't damage the seal at all doing it either. So that goes all the way down, and I do the same thing with this one. Alright, so pretty much we're just in the stage of putting the new seals back in. So we got the old seal on top, and then we have a piece of cardboard. People use PVC pipe. I just don't have that laying around. That works pretty good. But so this is actually pretty hard stuff. It worked okay yesterday, and we're just gonna use it like a slide hammer and press them in as far as we can, and then we'll get creative after that. So like last night with the other one that we did, this is about as far as I could get, which is about flush. You probably have another 1/8 inch to go, I think. You gotta really wail on it though, so it's I don't know, it's a pretty tight fit, like what it should be. So what we did is we actually took a chisel and just worked our way around. It actually worked pretty good. So I mean, call me a hack, but that's what we're gonna do. Didn't really damage anything on the other one other than the old seal we were using. So no harm, no foul. That's how it should sit with the chisel I used. You see the ring. It's a little clip that we took out with the washer underneath it. So pretty much put it back on and should be all set. So pretty much now that your clip and washer are like fully seated in there, go to like the local motorcycle place, and this is just genuine Honda suspension stuff. It just paid out the ass for. So this thing calls for 20 milliliters? Fluid ounces, sorry. And this is just what's left over from the other one. This is about 16, 17, and throw in there, and then we'll throw our big spring back in. Alright, so pretty much we have the spring back in with all the fluid. The coils get tighter towards the top, and remember how it says a progressive spring, and then you have your little washer right here. So the shaft will just decompress all the way right now. Just pull it back out, and then you'll have like another maybe 6 inches for the spacer, and then finally cap it off. So there it all is. It's all back together, the spacer and then the caps back on loosely. Just put it back in the tree, tighten it back up like I showed, just in reverse. Just tighten it back up, tighten this back up, then loosen up the tree, slide it the rest of the way up to where it should be.